constraints. For example, God tells you to do something. Go here, do this, do that. If money dictates to you what you can and cannot do for God, then money is your God and God is not your God.
Right.
Are you listening to me?
Yes. Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand that money controls people and controls the decisions that they make every single day. And one of the most dangerous things that I've seen even in America is the spirit of debt.
Right. Right. True.
Are you listening to me? Everything in America is built on the principle of debt. Because America actually wants you to be in debt.
Right.
I remember when I first came here to America, this is about a year and a half ago, and when I first got here, I didn't know that much about debt because when I was in India, we paid cash for everything. So I didn't really know what debt was. I never even owned a credit card until I had to come to America. So apparently Americans love their plastic credit cards. Amen. They like their plastic Botox and they like their plastic credit cards. It's pretty great. And I found that out when I got here. But I remember coming down to this nation, and then I was here, and we just opened our ministry here in the United States, and we were trying to figure out what to do next. And we just needed a vehicle for the ministry to drive around. How many of you know having a vehicle is important? And so I wanted to buy a car. And so I talked to Dr. Rodney, and Dr. Rodney said, well, go ahead and buy a car, but he said, don't pay cash for it. He said, just make sure you get credit, so that way tomorrow if somebody comes to America, you can give them credit for moving to America. And I didn't understand what he meant by that, because I never understood credit. So when I walked into the dealership and I looked at the vehicle and everything, we had a ministry bank account, everything opened up. I'm sitting in the dealership and I'm talking about buying a car. And he said, how would you like to buy it? I said, well, I'm going to take credit for a car. And he looks at me and he says, oh, so do you have credit? I said, no. I said, no, I don't have credit. And he's like, oh, you don't have credit? Okay. So, well, then how are you going to buy the car? And I said, well, with the credit. And he says to me, and it's very interesting, he looks at me and says, well, it's great, but you need credit. I said, well, where do I get credit? He says, well, somebody has to give you the credit. I said, well, will you give me the credit? And he said, no, I'm not going to give you credit. I said, if you don't give me credit, how am I going to get any credit? So I'm creditless at that point. So I didn't even know how to even buy a vehicle without credit when I first came to America. Because everything is based on debt, and debt actually ruins more lives than you realize.
Yes.
God does not want you to live in debt. He wants you to have an overflow in every area.
Yes. Yes.
Are you listening?
Yes.
Debt is not the will of God. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
Because I've heard testimonies, I was believing God for some credit to come in and for some debt to come in, and the Lord gave me some credit. I said, excuse me? You say the Lord put you into debt? That's not God. God does not want you to be in debt. He wants you to have an overflow. Because the Bible says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And the Bible says you will lend to the nations and you will never borrow. So if you're going to be a lender, you cannot be a borrower. You can't be a lender and a borrower. Either you're a lender or you're a borrower. There's nothing in between. But how can you lend to the nations if you keep borrowing all the time? And that's why most people end up actually serving mammon their whole life, because they make every decision out of the debt that they are stuck in. Even most ministers out there spend their whole lives getting debt upon debt upon debt. And before they know it, they're drowned in debt. And the number one cause of many ministries in America shutting down is because of too much debt. And I want you to understand something interesting about debt. Number one, God does not want you to have debt. And number two, one decision that I've made as a ministry, we are never going to take debt for anything that we have to do. And everything that we do, we've decided we're going to pay cash for everything.